Ourselves, boys. If we could add like any sort of size to any muscle group, more likely than not, unless you're arm dominant, it's probably going to be your arms. You probably want to add some more size to your arms. You probably want to add some more size to your shoulders, because I mean, let's be honest, guys. These muscles are the things that people like look at us and are like, God, you are big. You are actually a big ass dude. Because like whenever you have like fucking big ass arms, that's whenever people think, okay, he has to be fucking playing a sport or he has to be lifting or something. I'll tell you guys the exact protocol that I used to actually get big arms, from going like having like really flabby kind of fat arms to actually having definition and veins in my arms. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Sam. On this channel, I talk all about fitness and philosophy and just stuff for young men as a whole. If this interests you at all, then feel free to actually subscribe to join our movement. Well, before I tell you all this stuff I do, I want to get rid of your limited belief right now. So right now, you probably have this limited belief that, if you don't have good arm genetics, then that means that you're doomed to just not make any sort of progress, and that no matter how many arm exercises you do, your arms are still going to be small. This is bullshit. So yes, at first, if you have good arm genetics, okay, like I'll say this, I have good arm genetics, but when it comes to something like my chest, for instance, I had this limited belief that my chest would never grow, and so I fucking like pussied out on doing a lot of chest exercises. I'll tell you guys right now, this limited belief is the thing that's holding you back. Of course, somebody who has better arm genetics than you is going to be naturally going to be making more progress, but that does not mean that you can't make any progress or that you can't actually exceed their growth. You just need to put in the work. So before you guys watch this video, before you guys look at this video for me talking about all the arm exercises I do and the type of protocols I do, I want you to understand that you need to put the work in. Don't blame it on your genetics. Don't blame it on whatever. You need to put work in. You need to actually sit down and force yourself to train. You need to suffer. Before we get into the actual exercises, first I want to talk about the different muscle groups of the arm. So obviously, first of all, you're going to have the forearm, and then you're going to have the bicep, and you're going to have the tricep. So first of all, let's get something out of the way. The tricep is the biggest part of your arm. At least it's the biggest part of your arm that people are going to see besides your forearms. But we're going to talk about it in a minute. So the forearms, I got to be completely honest with you guys. The only way I built forearms was not from doing like a lot of like these wrist curls or like these like other movements where people grab things. Literally, I built big forearms from doing a lot of farmers walks, which if you don't know what that is, that's just you carrying like your dumbbells or something weighted in your arms and just walking long distance from it. I won't even lie to you guys. That's all I did besides hanging off of a bar for like long periods of time. That's all I did for forearms. I didn't do any sort of crazy ass training for it. I did the occasional like hammer curls, like get the dumbbell and you do some of these, but really a lot of it came from just holding on to something for a long period of time. Like I said, the farmer's walks, walking long distance with it, or hanging off of a bar for long distance and doing deadlifts. A lot of it was built from actually me just holding off of things. Like I said, just holding on to something instead of doing a lot of these like a lot of this tension thing. And I have pretty good sized forearms. So that's honestly, I'll say that's all I did for forearms. Now, I will tell you guys, like, I'm probably going to make a separate video talking more specifically about farmer's walks and why you need to start doing them. But in short, doing them is going to build a lot of this vascularity in your arm, especially like to get those veins in your forearms that people are like, holy shit, like, like that kind of thing. So start doing farmer's walks, start doing actually holding on bars. That's what I did for forearms. Now I actually want to talk about the triceps. So guys, I naturally have like pretty decent triceps, I think. So I'll tell you guys honestly, like I could tell you the basic, like you do like tricep extensions, like pull downs, like that kind of shit. But like the push down, I'm sorry. But the thing that honestly like blew up my arm the most was simply me doing dips and then combining that, slowly progressing into weighted dips. So I tell you guys all the time how like you need to not just do not just do weightlifting, but also blend it with calisthenics. I think honestly, if you guys start doing dips, which obviously you guys know what dips are, it's like where you're on the bar, you come down, and you push yourself up like that. You're putting so much stress on the you're putting so much stress on not only the tricep but also the shoulder that you're actually going to be building so much more muscle from it. I'll tell you guys, like my tricep day, like whenever I'm working out my arms, it always looks like I'll do weighted dips and then I'll also do skull crushers. Like I'll do some skull crushers with an easy bar. Those are really the two main movements that I have to say when I started implementing them more. That are the things that have actually blew up my arms. Now, finally, we're going to be talking about the bicep, the one that people always talk about. They're always saying stuff about that. Personally, I believe is probably one of my best body parts is my biceps. The way that I grew my biceps was really just from doing chin ups, pull ups, and bicep curls. Now, let me explain to you guys. So, I used to be really obsessed with pull ups. Like, I mean, I love pull ups. It's one of my favorite exercises. And then I started to implement doing chin ups. And, like, literally, I'll tell you guys is that I started to just, like, throughout the day, like, if I couldn't exercise or something, I would literally just start hitting, like, fucking like 10 chin ups here, 10 chin ups there. And eventually, over time, my arms started to blow up. And I'm actually going to show you guys, like, after I told you that all of those movements. So, like I said, you can write this down. For biceps, I did a lot of chin ups and a lot of bicep curls. But there's a specific type of training that I actually use for not only biceps, but also for the rest of my training. And that's with, I'll warm up and I'll really do 2 sets to absolute failure. So I'll take 1 set. Like, let's say I'll do bicep curls, right? Let's say I grab the, I don't know, 25s to 30s for bicep curls. And I take that, I take it to failure. Then I drop the weight, rest for a couple of minutes, then I get it, and my second set I take it to failure, like literally like to failure, as close to failure as I fucking possibly can, until my arms are fucking I cannot move my arms anymore. That's the way that I personally do it, and that's the way I actually grew my arms was not just like doing like like 3 sets of 12. It was from actually sitting down and taking my shit to failure, like getting a heavy ass weight. So like for me, for instance, right now, like I had an arm day on Sunday, and on the arm day, I literally got the 90 pound, like the 90 pound barbell or the 90 pound bar, and I just started like lifting it up and took it to absolute failure. Like I took it to failure, and then after I rest a couple of minutes, it took another set to failure, and that's it. I'm done with it. Because you want to try to get as close to stimulate that failure to actually stimulate the muscle growth. I do this for all of my sets. I do, well, I not for all of them, but I do it for a majority of my final sets when it comes to triceps, when it comes to forearms, when it comes to bicep, when it comes to any sort of muscle group, really. But for arms, I think it's even more important because you're going to actually blow up your arms from doing this. That's how I blew up my arms. General rundown as to how I actually grew my arms, like the type of exercises I do. I actually want to give you guys some other tips. So, because obviously, like it's one thing to train, it's another thing for arms to look big. A lot of it comes down to a lot of other stuff that you're doing besides at the gym. Talk about is actually what you're wearing. So obviously, like no shit. If you wear like a really if you wear like a really big shirt that people can't see any of your muscles, they're probably not going to think you're that big. They're probably not going to think that you're actually that big. Especially if you're wearing like a pullover, unless like it's a form-fitting pullover, people are probably not going to think you're big. So for instance, the type of shirt that I'm wearing right now, I'm wearing a polo shirt. You can kind of it kind of hold snugs onto my muscles. You can see like you can actually visibly see my muscles with this shirt on. Now, I will tell you guys this. This is something that if you actually get big forearms, if you do what I said about forearms, you can start wearing like kind of like a bit of oversized t-shirts. But because your forearms are big, people are still going to naturally think that you're massive. So I'm telling you guys that even if you don't want to wear like really tight shirts and stuff, I'll tell you guys try to get big forearms because I'll tell you guys from experience, people will still think you're fucking massive if you actually just have big fucking forearms because that's the part that they see. They see these really vascular forearms. And so, like I said, if you really are trying to aim for that, people thinking, "Oh my God, what the fuck sport does he play? Like, what is this dude's lifting routine?" Then I would recommend wearing like kind of tighter, more form-fitting shirts on your arms. So another thing I want to tell you guys, this is something that I don't see people talk about enough, is actually getting enough salt. So getting enough salt, obviously, like you probably understand why you should get enough salt is because you're actually going to be showing a lot more vascularity. So whenever you're getting leaner, like okay, like because I hope you're trying to get leaner. I hope you're not just trying to bulk up and get really fat. Whenever you get leaner and you also increase your salt intake, then you're going to see your veins a lot more. Your veins are going to start popping out a lot more, and especially with your forearms, like because like I said, people are naturally going to see your forearms the most. If you have your vascularity, if they can actually see your veins, then that's when people think, "Holy shit, he has big ass arms." So I'll say get enough salt, and also it really, if you want to boost this even more, is to get lean. Like I said, get leaner over time because then you're going to see more veins. So people are going to think you're more jacked. And final thing that I want to mention you guys, and this is really if you're really trying to get attention, I guess, is to get a pump. So like for me, for instance, I have my pump routine is literally just I'll do 100 push-ups, and then after that I'll do like 10 chin-ups. So I actually have a video of me doing 100 push-ups. If you guys want to go do it right now, it's a quick pump routine. And then after that, you guys could do like either bicep curls or you could do chin-ups if you have a bar. Cover one last final thing that honestly, this is going to level up how people see you, is actually working out your shoulders more. So it's almost like, whenever people say, oh, that guy has really nice legs, and naturally, if somebody has really nice legs, they probably have a good ass. Like they probably have a good muscular ass. It's the same thing when people say, like, oh, if a girl has nice legs, like they're probably just looking at her butt. Not saying that like the legs aren't good, but I'm saying that like, okay, the butt is the equivalent to shoulders. Whenever you actually have bigger shoulders, when you have wider shoulders, people are going to think that naturally your arms are bigger. So this is the same mentality. I would say start to work out your shoulders more, start to do more shoulder-based exercises, because then naturally people are going to think that your arms are bigger. I have for you boys. Remember that this is completely from my experience what has actually worked for me. So what works for me might not work for you, but this is how I actually grew my arms personally. That's all I have for you boys.